Hey Andy, if we could put it down to say 3 questions you could ask yourself, all right, to really gain the essence of what we're on about, what's a question that you would ask?
My first question that I would ask me before I do anything, and I do it regularly now, am I in this moment? Because Davo, a lot of times we're all on schedules. You know, it's nothing for us to do 8 or 9 back-to-back sessions, and that's not a good or a bad thing. It's just the way we structure the best use of our time. But a lot of times when we're business owners, when we're managers, when we're coaches working with coaches, when we're mentors, when we're all these roles that you and I have played owning businesses, and many people out here will play, we've got to understand that when that client comes in for the next session, that we have to be in the present, in the moment, because the energy will be that they will feel that you're not. And don't get me wrong, guys, there's still times now that I'll run over a couple of minutes from my last session just taking notes and putting them on the computer, but I'll always say, look, have a seat, can I get you a water, can I just get a couple of minutes? No, and people are understanding.
Yeah, sure.
So being in the moment is my first question I'll always ask myself, you know, when I'm with a client. What about you? What's one of your first questions? You know, if we said that was number 1, what would be your number 2?
All right. The question that I would ask myself is, what's my motive?
Yep.
You know, what's my motive for being here, and what's my motive in this session with this client? And that comes down to, am I drawing upon my experience to the highest level I can possible to really get an outcome for the person who's with me? Is that my deepest motive? All right? Or is my motive to quickly move through to lunchtime? You know? Or is my motive to make sure that I'm not falling into overdraft? What's my deepest motive? Because as you said, if the situation is not in a lovely present state, the client can never get the full potential out of you. They can never get the full potential. So for me, it's bringing that motive into, make sure you're in this for the client, and is that my motive today? If it's not, how can I change this?
So guys, what you have to understand is that Davo and I are having a conversation here. This hasn't been convoluted, we haven't written down anything. This is just drawing from our experiences. Yeah, we've got a rough draft sheet of the topics. But if we've got 2 guys who have come from very different fields, and they're the 2 things straight off the bat, you know, am I in the moment and what's my motive? You just can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
So it's so important to understand that. Now the third one for me, I think you've already mentioned it. And I think really when we talk about it, can I be effective for this person? I think that's the strongest word, Davo, we can give to people. Effective doesn't mean we fix anyone. Effective doesn't mean we take the pain away. Effective doesn't mean that they dance and skip out the door with big smiles on their faces with a balloon in their hand. Effective means, mind you, some days I have seen my clients do that, and I've been very happy that they've...
I've supplied the balloons.
Effective to me is, have I empowered them to take a default movement, so when something happens that they get into a bit of anxiety or they get into a bit of discomfort, or the stress starts to mount, that they've now got a default movement that they can do that brings them back into control to give them a quality of life again. And, you know, if we can understand what they need from us today, by being in the moment, by understanding our motive, and then by understanding what they need, Davo, no one ever now starts to have a negative experience. Because, you know, intention for me is everything. And the intention is when you talk about motive and in the moment. The effectiveness now is understanding our product.
Yeah.
And now that, for us, is drawing on our experience and being able to give them what they need.